This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. And if it's Tuesday, that means we're live. And I'm going to experience this. This is going to be a technology delayed show. I can tell already, but we made it work in the past. It's good to see locally Nathasha Rumbos from Miami, Florida, popping in. I'm sure she's got a lot of stuff to say. All right, so Terri's in Sherman Oaks, California. Good to see her. She's been through a lot. But you know what? Terri, we always work through things, don't we? And I'm glad that you made it on no matter what. She has a bunch of stuff to talk about because it's about everyday life and what we go through. Christopher Hicks, my good friend. You know, I talk about Chris all the time with other people on what he's done. And today he and I were talking about stuff, and we were just reminiscing about when he came to California, what he's done, what he's doing, and he's going to be our protection, one of our people that works with us on our Dreamweaver Artist Ranch and the Dreamweaver Arts up in Northern California, because Southern California's changed a lot. Howard Wiggins, I know Howard's probably got a second or a second and a half delay, and I think he's got a storm in Nashville, Tennessee. Tosh, you have one in Miami too? We might as well make it all storm related, even though it's nice in most of the places. We might as well just go with it. Yeah, there you go. That's enough. There's a reason why she's got magnets and she's in her kitchen, because that's the best place for her, and she makes it work. But anyhow, here we are. We're live on Tuesdays. It's movie reviews and more. I'm Brian Sebastian, live on 103 outlets around the world, Spotify, Pandora, Anchor, you name it, and streaming on Worldwide TV Network, I-247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and WomenOnTV.tv. I was thinking of Karen as I was talking about that. So this is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm just going to go with it. We got to start with ladies first. Karen Liz Albert. I've been talking to you for about 3 years. I found her fascinating. I loved her posts when it comes to social media and things like that. I like the fact that she's out of Denver, and she sings too. You thought I was going to forget about talking about that, didn't you, Darren? No, I didn't. So Karen, tell us who you are. Tell us what's most important when it comes to social media and things like that.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, first of all, Brian, for giving me the opportunity to be here with all of you today, and just getting the opportunity to chat and talk about myself. So I started my company about 13 years ago, which I cannot even believe. And it was in 2010. And it was really all just a result of life happening and, trying to figure it out. I had a sudden loss of my mom, who passed away from cancer in 2010. And I was in the corporate world, sales and marketing background, all prior to that. And I just decided to, part ways and figure out what I was going to do with my life and kind of find some purpose in that pain. And I had a next door neighbor who had a nonprofit organization, and she was like, well, that Facebook thing. And I had dabbled in it a bit in the corporate world. And so she had a fundraiser coming up. And so she asked if I would help with the fundraiser. And so fast forward, we had the event, and it was a total success. And the realtors that had donated the space for the event came up to me and said, so how much could we pay you to help us with our social media? And that's literally how it all started, right? That was the opportunity knocking. And I was like, I'm going to get right back to you on that. And so I did. And, I think the thing that I love to share with people when it comes to social media is it's really, in order for you to use it in a way that you feel as if it's really going to help you to be seen and build relationships, it's really all about identifying who it is ideally that you want to attract as a result of using social media. So we all tend to get on there, right, and be all about us and try and talk about how fantastic we are. But the reality of it is, that's not what we should be using these platforms for. We want to add value. And the best way to add value is to know who it is that you're wanting to add value to, right? So understanding what are their needs, what are their interests, and using these platforms to show up in a way that really gives back. And you're not just sort of that big shiny object wanting to talk all about yourself. And so very blessed in the fact that I've been able to utilize my skills in the real estate industry for the last 13 years and help real estate professionals learn how to strategically and effectively use things like Facebook and Instagram so that they can actually be seen and add value to their community. And it's almost like an, oh, by the way, conversation, I happen to be in real estate. But that's really where you see the greatest success. And then there's all the stuff about the algorithms and the search engines and all of that kind of stuff too, which can be for a kind of a social media geek and nerd like me, I love it. But for some, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And yes, I am also a lead female singer in a local band here as well. So I am not afraid of the microphone by any means.
And with that, Christopher, let's segue into you, because we were talking about websites, we were talking about movies, we were talking about how things have changed in Southern California. Tosh, we talked about you just briefly because Tosh creates flyers for us every Monday, Tuesday, and she's gone on to do her own show and things like that. So social media is really, really important. But Christopher, when it comes to you, it's also about projecting what you want out there, because you're about to make a different change too in your career and in your life also.
Yeah, I'm really working at switching out of. I've been a personal coach for years. Self-protection, self-defense really has been my baby for the past 25 years. I've got almost 40 years of training behind me in martial skills and martial arts. I've really decided to really segue into self-protection. It's not martial arts that I teach. I'm teaching people life-saving skills, and I take it very, very seriously. We try to have a good time about a very serious situation. I was very fortunate that I just taught a seminar about a month and a half ago, and Terri was there. And, we spent a lot of time dealing with a lot more soft skills versus hard skills. We got into the hard skills, which is more the hitting and striking stuff. But the soft skills, your awareness skills, are really what saves you in the real world. What you're seeing is a couple of pictures there. We're outside. That's called the runaround drill, where we're using what's called a static weapon, which would be a car. Using that car as a way to keep you separated from you and the attacker. So I had a great time. I had 6 instructors there that were just fantastic. You can see a couple of us there standing there. But each one of those cars is a static object. Putting something between you and the aggressor was that part of the drill. Getting in the car, just the test ran for about 15 to 20 seconds from go to get in. And you had to successfully keep the aggressor from you as you went around the car and then got into the car and locked the doors. So again, creating stress in the environment, understanding that training trumps tools. Training is everything. If you've not been trained to do it, you more than likely won't do it. In fact, recently there was, I'm not sure if anybody's seen the craziness that's going on with France. About 2 weeks ago, there was a stabbing where a Syrian nationalist was stabbing babies. And there's a mother there trying to protect her child, and she only ran about 5 feet away. And the problem is if you don't understand that there are 3 things that we go through as human beings: fight or flight. People always talk about that. What we don't talk about is freeze. Freeze is a natural instinct that goes back 100,000 years to when we're developing, and we were hunted. So you hear a noise, you stop, you freeze, hoping that predator is going to pass you by or assess that situation. Well, in that moment, you see this mother with her baby run about 5 feet away, And what's worse is she turns it back towards the assailant with the child in her hands. And that's a freeze response, as opposed to we don't know how we're going to react in these stressful situations. So a lot of it is, listen, like when Terri was there, we had a great time. And a lot of that is, yeah, there's some hard skills. Yes, you need to know how to protect yourself. You need to understand that, especially for women, it's a crazy place out there. It really is. And unfortunately, you're treated like objects. Someone smiles at you, smile back. Now that's an open invitation for them to come and start talking to you or make a pass at you. I feel so bad, for men out there who we need to re-educate men and get them to understand that how to be a better man, how to be, quiet, confident, not needy, being there when you need to be there, and still be a nice guy. Put a smile on, be a gentleman. I was raised that way. Open doors, just be a good man. And when someone says no, no means no. Walk away. But the soft skills are part of that training, which is how to de-escalate, how to be aware, how to see your world and what's around it. Some of the skills we talked about with Terri was how to approach a corner. And a corner could be a dark place. It could be a bush by your house. How you approach these things is very important as you move forward in your life. How to get to your car. And again, we start talking about, everyone's like, well, why would somebody do this? I don't care about why. Why is not important. What's important is understanding there's a couple of things: person, place, time, and amount. So again, we start talking about people. People is, hey, there's a guy walking towards you. Okay, well, let's start talking about time now, right? Somebody you don't know walking towards you, parking lot, time, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The amount means the amount of violence I need to bring to that moment, or the amount of awareness I need to bring to that moment. 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't have to bring too much, violence to that moment based on how someone's approaching me. But we switch that time up now, and it's now 10 o'clock at night. Parking lots are more deserted. You need to be much more aware and be ready to take some type of an action. And then actually talk about being preemptive. That's a big thing in like self-protection or self-defense. And I say self-protection because I want people to be proactive in what they do. You need to be ready, go out there, get your head out of the phone, see what's going on around you. Your number one skill is being aware. Know what's around you at all times. And I hate to say that. I hate to be, and it's not fear I'm selling. It's just be aware. 95% of the things you can deal with, you just walk away from. And as a man, I have a family. I want to make sure my family's safe. My job is not to go out and engage people and be, you looked at my wife or you looked at this or you're doing that. I see trouble coming. I'm going the opposite direction. I want to move as far away from it as possible, as quickly as possible. Because that's the smart thing to do. Mm-hmm. Because what's going to, we kind of grew up in this world of movies and, ooh, I want to be John Wick. John Wick's awesome. He kicks butt. Great. What you don't understand is it's not going to go good for either you.
And that's not how it works, is it?
And it's never how it works. And understanding, I spent years being a stuntman. I've been in the business, and you spend hours, countless hours, making somebody look good. That's your whole job. You make that star look good. Doesn't matter how many times you got to fall, how many times you get back up. He always looks good. He always comes out clean. And that's never it. Unfortunately, in the real world, it's not going to go well for either person. Skill and your ability to bring aggression and violence is a whole nother issue. So teaching soft skills like awareness training, how to approach your car, those are things you can pick up very quickly. The hard skills where you actually have to get physically aggressive with somebody and violent, that's someplace that a lot of us have to cross. It's one thing to hit a pad. It's one thing to hit, a bag. It's another thing to actually put your hands on a human being, which is why in some of these pictures you see me using an actual head. I want tactile sensations. The closer you are to reality, the easier it is to implement in that moment. So again, everything we talk about really comes down to one simple axiom for me: own the ground you walk on. And that all comes from being aware. And social media stuff, like Brian was saying, I'm going through a whole new website revamp right now, putting things up. I've never really put things on YouTube. So I'm going to be opening a YouTube channel pretty soon. This is all a new place for me. Like, okay, here we go. And I really want to be a service.
And this goes back into what Karen does. Karen, go into this because that's what we were talking about. And then Tosh, Tosh is good when it comes to marketing on a different level. but it all makes sense because you can pick up different pieces from everything, and it always works.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows
Just
how to
from what
utilize
Karen
it.
said, I was picking stuff up. Just a little bit she was talking about, oh, that makes sense.
Karen, talk about how the world has changed, and then for women, because you came from a different aspect of things.
Yeah, everything you just said is fascinating, and thank you for that, and thank you for your desire and passion to do what you're doing, Chris, because I think it's unfortunately now more than ever is needed. Like, I'm a brand new grandmother. I have a 15-month-old granddaughter, and I feel like I have to be, and my daughter has to be incredibly aware now. I mean, the whole abduction thing is so
God.
scary. And so I feel as if we have to be aware of ourselves. But now I'm thinking, we have to be just this, constantly being aware of, because people are bold these days. I mean, it's crazy. They're just coming in and taking these kids like
Yep.
broad daylight, like it's nothing, So I think it's fantastic what you're doing, but on the social media side, just get really clear on who is it that you're talking to. Is it women that you want to? Is it women that might have the younger children that could be having this sort of fear, right? That they're concerned about their kids getting abducted. So if you can really hone in on who it is that you want to attract, then it makes it a lot easier for you to start crafting the conversation around the pain point that they are specifically having. So the more broad you are, the more difficult it is to speak to specifics, right? So you can be putting in certain types of keywords and certain types of content that will speak to a solution that you already have. It's all, is this what that keeps you up at night kind of a question, then, these are the things that I've put together in a way that can really help you to alleviate that particular type of concern and pain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes
Yes.
total sense. Totally.
Hey,
Yeah.
Karen, let me ask you this. Howard Wiggins uses Facebook a lot. That's his go-to. So what are you seeing changing with algorithms and things like that as far as what you're paying attention to? Because I've kind of stepped back from that. I just put our shows up and I respond to people that are reaching out to me, and I'm looking at it from a distance. But what are you seeing that I might not be seeing?
So the biggest thing that has shifted in the world of the algorithms basically is they have become very, very protective over the user community. Meaning the algorithm's number one goal right now is to make sure that it keeps the user community happy. And the way that it does that is by ensuring that the information that shows up on the news feed of every single user is right in alignment with what that user has an interest in. And so all of you and I are dictating every day, all day long, what we see show up on our news feed, because we are being profiled, right? Everything that we write about, everything we engage with, we like, comment, share, it's all being, Zuckerberg is spending millions of dollars on this predictive behavior analytics because it wants to create a very safe, right, and happy, healthy environment for us on the news feed. And so when you are knowing that, if you know how to leverage all this data that's being mined by the algorithms, that's when you can really start to see a return on your efforts, because you can't just be posting stuff out there and trying to speak to an everybody, because the algorithm doesn't have a profile called an everybody, right? So the clearer you get on who it is you want to attract, the greater the chances are that the algorithm is actually going to become a part of your marketing efforts versus going, I don't know who in the world you want me to put this content in front of, so I'm not putting it in front of anybody, right? So get clear on your who, and then when the algorithm goes and scans business pages, because the algorithm wants to use businesses and their content and organically serve that up to a user community that it thinks, based on that user's activity, is going to have an interest, right, in that. And we can support that new initiative that Facebook has in wanting to now really support the businesses because of this entire new interface that it rolled out within the last year, where we now as business owners finally have the ability to utilize all of this new features and functionality that Facebook has only really given to us as individual Facebook users. But now we can switch over to the new Facebook interface and use all the same tools as a business owner, which is fantastic. So when you are building your Facebook business page and your content, think about strategically who it is you want to attract. And if geography is relevant for you, then think about where they are as well. So it's kind of creating the bullseyes that I always say, right? Don't try and just be doing the shooting it out and hoping it sticks. Create your own bullseye and get clear on who you want to put in that bullseye. And then when the algorithm goes and scans your business page, there's 5 specific questions now that it's looking to get answers to. It wants to know who you are, what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, and where you do it. Again, if geography is relevant. So we spend all day long talking about who we are and what we do and how we do it and how great we are, but we don't really tend to speak to the who it is that we are wanting to attract and where they might be geographically. So you want to be really clear on making sure that you're incorporating, again, the conversation in your keywords and your hashtags and your call to actions. All of that is helping the algorithm understand who it is you want to attract. And, an example that I use is, because again, I work primarily with realtors, but this strategy applies to everybody. But there was a realtor that I was working with. He's based out of Los Angeles. And he was like, I don't really know who I want to attract. Because if you ask realtors, they want to attract anybody with a pulse, right? Which I get that makes sense. But it doesn't work that way. From a business development perspective, makes sense. It does not work that way from algorithm and search engine. So basically what we did is we looked at him, and he was brand new. So we didn't have a lot of tenure in his clients to look at, but we discovered that he was an absolute avid pet lover. So I said, well, if you love pets that much and you think you can relate to other pet lovers, because like attracts like, I can tell you every time, if you look at yourself and what you're interested in organically, you're going to organically start to attract that as well. So we branded him as the realtor to pet lovers, and everything in his content and his keywords and his graphics, everything, right, showed him as a realtor to pet lovers. And then when you get clear on who, then you can start thinking about what are the other businesses that you want to start to connect with and build relationships with. So I taught him how to take his social media pages and start to connect with the dog walkers and the groomers and the vets in his local area, so that he could add value in other ways and share content from those other pet loving type of service providers as well. And I mean, he became number 3 agent in his office in a couple of years. And not because I'm a magician, it's just helping you understand that these are incredibly powerful platforms. You just have to know how to use them in a way that's going to help you to become visible and shine the spotlight on a particular community. So Chris, I'd be happy to talk with you further if you want any, additional guidance on what the algorithm goes and looks and keywords and, what you can be doing to make sure you're populating, or anybody.
I would love that.
Okay, let me jump into this one real quick. Oh, go ahead, Terri. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to bring something up because I've been in sales and marketing for 20 years. I mean, but I work in the medical field. So I know it's really important to get that niche. And a lot of people have a lot of confusion on hashtags. How many hashtags do they use? Which kind of hashtags they use? Can you address that? Because I just know a lot of listeners are a lot of confusion on that.
Yeah. I get that question a lot too. So thanks for bringing that up. So a lot of times people say, well, I don't think we should be using hashtags because I don't want to be spammy, or I thought hashtags were only a Twitter thing. But here's the thing. You want to use hashtags. There's a maximum of 30 that you can use in Facebook and Instagram posts. And I love hashtags, but there's a strategic way that you want to be utilizing them. You don't want to create a list of 30 hashtags that are all about you, right? So in my hashtags, I use, yes, hashtag Facebook trainer, hashtag social, but I've got a lot of hashtags that are relevant to where I know the real estate community is using hashtags. Why do I want to show up in front of people that are using hashtag Facebook trainer, right? I'm just showing up in front of my competition. So when I get clear on who, it makes it a lot easier to craft a social media strategy with hashtags that are going to help you show up in front of the community that you want to show up in front of. And the other reason why you want to use these hashtags is because in Facebook and in Instagram, there are pages dedicated to every single individual hashtag that show every post that contains that particular hashtag. So your post will not only show up on your news feed and your page, but it'll show up on all of those other hashtag pages as well. So the formula that I use is I'll do about a certain percentage will be hashtags relevant to me and my own branded hashtags, and hashtags relevant to what I do, but more importantly, hashtags relevant to who I do it for. So that way, you know that you are using the hashtags that not just your competition is basically,
I have one more question on hashtags, and I know this comes up because I've had other people bring this up. What is your opinion on hashtag generators?
I think they're okay. I think they're good if you're kind of wanting to look at something that might be relevant to something very specific. I wouldn't really use them so much on building your entire list of your hashtags. My research team will use those sometimes, but quite honestly, we just go into the applications themselves and we look at the ones that have a lot of energy and are very, what we call the healthy hashtags, because you can tell that those are the ones that are being used a lot and have a lot of engagement and following.
I have a question. Go into this, because when we were in Tennessee, Tosh got good at what she was doing. We all started to follow her lead on stuff. All right, go ahead, Tosh. You're gonna tell Karen what you do first of all.
Okay, yeah, hi. So I'm that's me. Hey, I'm a Latin pop singer songwriter.
Love it.
I live in Miami, so we're both in that singing vibe. I do a lot of like reggaeton, un poquito de Latin. Like it's very fun music. A lot of high energy. So so I have a new song, that one Hangyad, so I invite you to listen to it because it's the summer bop, I swear, and it's really fun. The video is shot in Ocean Drive. It's like a bunch of vibrant colors, dancers, like it's really good vibes.
Where can I find it?
Llegó el viernes y queremos salir, vivamos el weekend pasado en repeat. Traigo a la nena pa' prender esta vaina, somos las primeras en la pista sin falta. Pa' arriba, pa' abajo, pa' el centro y pa' adentro. Ese show me calentó el cuerpo. Bandolera, bandolera, bandolera. Así me pongo cuando pierdo la cabeza. Salió la Nati a perrear, agarren su pareja.
Oh wow, yes, that was me. So you can find that on all social media platforms. My YouTube channel is Nathasha Rumbos, so that's where you can see the whole video there. But going back to what Brian was saying, so that's what I do, like, full time, going into my career head on. And before I started doing music, I used to work in radio, and I was in charge of like the social media team. So I learned a lot like with social media, and that's when I started kind of taking more in charge of my social media and everything with like hashtags and times and like color formats and all this stuff. But I know like everything changes like a lot, like in months like algorithms change and trendings change. So the question that I had for you, because like I've been organically growing my followers, and I post a lot of things about like music and about like hobbies and like kind of like about things that get to people to know me as a person and as a musician as well. But I've noticed that like, I don't know, is there like depending on how many followers you have, what is like the conversion rate of like engagement on your posts that are healthy? Like, because not everybody's gonna see your post, but how do you know that you're like that you are good with Instagram, and Instagram's not hiding your posts?
Yeah, it's a good question. And, it's funny because a lot of people think that your overall percentage of engagement should be in parallel with the amount of followers that you have. And the two actually don't really even play together that much at all anymore. and so I try and get my clients to understand, yeah, I know, like we love having people look at our pages and go, oh, we have 10,000 followers, right? Like, aren't we so popular? And we love seeing that number. But that doesn't really mean that your content is being seen by 10,000 or even being seen by those 10,000 of followers, because what is more important is, regardless of who sees it, the people following you or the people not following you, because those are the two markets that you always want to make sure you are taking in consideration, the followers and the non-followers. Because what I look at when I'm looking at demographics and reports for my clients is, I want to see that I've gotten outside of expanding the footprint of just those people that know about me, right? Because it's all, and the way you do that is all by engagement. So you could have 10,000 followers and you could post, and if there's no likes, comments, shares, engagement, clicks, whatever, then the next time you post, it might only be seen by 1,000. And if again there's no engagement, then maybe it's only being shown to like 100. And so it kind of eventually can start to degrade. So it's really making sure that what you're putting out there, Nathasha, is adding value to the community, that you're getting the likes, you're getting the clicks, and you're getting the shares. So you gain that ripple effect. And things nowadays that are getting the ripple effect is what this algorithm gives the preferential treatment to right now, hands down, is reels. Everything is reels right now. So if what I would suggest, if you're not doing it already, and you might be, is taking everything you're producing and just turning them into reels. And you know, people like the short, the sweet, the quick, the flashy, make them have to watch it more than once, like put almost too much stuff in there, you know, so that they're having to kind of continuously watch it. So that that's how you're going to get that right now it's kind of like it's posts at the bottom and then stories and then reels at the top.
Yeah, I've noticed that all the reels that I posted get a lot of good engagement compared to like just like a post or a story. So that's why I was like, am I doing something like not right with like posts and stories? But okay, I see what you're saying. Like reels is like the newest, you know, thing that everybody wants to push. But how do you feel about sponsored posts, like sponsored ads? Like, do you think those actually can work? The ones on Instagram and Facebook?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think it's good to have a healthy combination of organic and paid as well. But the mistake that a lot of people make is that they will put money behind a post just to get engagement, right? And that is not, if you didn't get engagement on it organically, you're just basically throwing money at it to for you to spend money for the community to say, yeah, we still don't like this, right? So what you want to do is really just look at putting money behind posts that you have an intention. There's a specific call to action. Are you doing lead gen? Are you trying to get them drive traffic somewhere? Are you needing something very specific? Don't put money behind a post just because you think you look cute and you want people to see it, right? That's just not the best use of your funds.
Right.
Hey, Nilda, it's good to see her in Chicago. Yes, I recognize who that is. So this is the reason. Karen, I loved everything that you said, but this is the reason why we started in 2018 going by views. For that reason, going by views and not followers, not subscriptions, not likes. We weren't relying and we weren't depending on anything, and that's why I've always saying 15 million views and counting. We're almost ready to turn over to 16 million. You'll see a big notice when we do, and that's one reason why. And Tosh knows this, Terry knows this, and I think Chris knows a little bit about that, and Howard. Is that's why I started putting things on different sites, because not everybody goes to Facebook. Howard loves Facebook, but I think Tosh likes TikTok and Instagram, and Terry likes Facebook and I think TikTok, and she does what she does on Instagram. For me, I go to Alignable. I have 52,000 views on Alignable. Nobody knows about it. 52,000.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Karen, I'm probably number one on that views on that because I haven't seen anybody beat me. And all of a sudden, I see everybody reaching out on that, which is interesting. And talking about the views on this, so Howard, let's segue back into you because Howard loves Facebook. And I always wondered on his viewers, his fans and his people that love him, what he does, because it's all about dancing, but he is that actor. He is that Renaissance man. Talk about this, Howard. Oh, did he freeze? Oh no! Oh no, he's there.
No, he's moving.
Not going anywhere.
All right, Howard, tell us what was this?
What I like about Facebook, I can engage with the viewer, and I answer the questions back every time they ask them. And even if they like me, I'll come back and like what's on their post. And when I communicate with them, they stay in touch with me. So doing my dancing, doing my design work, doing my fashion, doing my acting, they're all different avenues. So, but they're all creative avenues. And I'm looking for people who love creativity and enjoy life.
Howard, talk about what you're wearing, what room you're in, and what's that piece of artwork that's next to you.
Okay, I'm in the master bedroom, and I've actually got that first jacket on when we first met at Nashville Women in Film. I wore that same jacket. I thought I hadn't worn that in about, I guess it's been a year because we've been together a year. And then this is an imperial yellow base that used to belong to the last emperor of China. And it's one of a pair. And if there was a movie on the last emperor of China, he died, I think, in the 1940s. And he ended up being a gardener at the end. And a lot of the eunuchs stowed his treasures and sold them and told him they were burned. And actually, a producer in Hollywood bought most of the treasures. And they were in his house. And I've got the magazine from that. And these were in his entryway, flanking the entryway going up the steps. And back in the 80s, the house was something like $35 million back in the 80s when they sold it. And one chandelier upstairs sold for $1 million. So, and that was in the 80s. So I've always had an eye of knowing what's what, even if I don't know what's what, because I love to find things. And if I like it, there's a reason I like it. And I just got to find out why.
And I love I love what Howard puts up. It makes me laugh, but it also makes me proud because he's definitely unique, and I like unique and different people because or else I find you kind of boring if you're not, you know. But that's me. But you know what I was talking about. I was talking about Lineable, but also Easy Way Network. What do I have? 25,900 views on that. So Karen, I found these other sites that no one was paying attention to. But if you think of the average influencer, where did they start? Snapchat, Vine, Periscope.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't really even being worked, but they came up with thousands of followers and views at that point. And then now you're down to, I'm not a TikToker, I'm a YouTuber. You know, for me, I am working on the reels and stuff like that, but I do go with the hashtag. So I have learned a lot of stuff, but I give a lot of credit to Tosh because she was able to figure out a lot of stuff from Terri and I and the gang when we were in Tennessee, and I still apply what she was talking about. So thank you, Tosh.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but it is a good point, though. You want to make sure that you are on a variety of different platforms because people there's not a mutual admiration across all platforms, right? So you tend to find those that love Instagram and not so much Facebook, or, you know, vice versa. So that's kind of why you want to make sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You do want to sort of be cross-promoting across the different platforms to make sure you're showing up in front of all of the different demographics. But at the same time, you may find that, you know, your demographic might be of a certain age or lifestyle where, you know, one platform caters to that demographic. And so it makes sense for you to just be on that one particular platform.
Christopher, talk about this. So now that you've heard a little bit of what Tosh was saying and even what Terri was saying and Howard and specifically Karen, where are you right now in putting your content and creating your future YouTube channel? Because you don't always have a lot of time to do a lot of stuff like this.
No, it's very true. You know, one, I've learned I need to delegate some responsibility to some other people as opposed to me doing it all. I like Instagram. Instagram's very easy for me to get onto. Everything gets posted onto Facebook because they're now married. YouTube is something that I want to go back. I want to get back on YouTube and work at that and put some videos together. I'm a perfectionist too. If it doesn't look right, I can't use it. So I'm trying to move away from that and get to that place of just put it up there, put it out there, let people see it, and don't worry about it. That's a big step for me. So again, finding the right people to help me along the way is that issue. And it's like everything else. Finding quality people in your life is not very easy. Quality people are what count in the world. Having those really good, deep connections and being of service to each other, not just to yourself.
So Terri, Christopher and I were talking about you earlier today. I'm I got to get Terri to go back and train with Chris. Not only will it help her mind, but I know she will really enjoy it, and it'll get her a chance to just loosen up and just go with it, and that will help. And that's how I started with martial arts back in the day, when Christopher started back in the day. We were always told, you walk out that door and you have your keys in your hand, be prepared because you just don't know who's around the corner. You should still do these things. Specifically women. Tosh, now that your profile is coming up, you have to be careful of what you're doing too. You're in crazy Miami, but you're out there.
There's always something going on in Miami. Actually, one of my coworkers last week, walking to her car, this guy tried to rob her with a gun, and luckily a cop was passing by as it was happening, and he was able to she got really lucky, but in that case, somebody who's not trained or kind of freezes, like Chris was saying, how can you defend yourself with somebody who has a gun? That's it. I know it's possible, but it's a scary. It's very scary. Yeah.
Again, I'm so particular about. I have other instructors I know that teach gun stuff and knife stuff, and let's be clear, for the most part, those are extremely high skill levels. And what happens with a lot of people too is, even though they teach it and they're taught, a particular way, it doesn't mean it's the best way. I'm all about principles. I'm not about techniques. Principles like penetrate and dominate. That's a big one. If you've got to go, I want to get close. I want to get tight. I don't want to give the guy a chance to draw a weapon, or try to do something to me. I tell everybody all the time, I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'5", 5'6". One of my hookahs, my running shoes. Give me that extra inch. But
this is what Christopher and I were talking about today. When I first met Christopher, I think it was 1991. I automatically was scared of him, and I'll tell you why. Because I knew he was tough just because of his size, and I never wanted to fight anybody who was smaller than me because they had nothing to lose. This is what he and I were talking about. I'm so proud of where he's come because I would have never foreseen where he is today and today's stature around the world. That just blows my mind. Am I surprised? No. But am I amazed at what he's accomplished? He's done more than I ever thought he was going to do. I couldn't be happy with him.
Thank you. I've been, like I said, I've been very fortunate to, people talk about training with the best in the world, and I really have been very fortunate to have some of the best instructors world over, and again, my hope is to pass this along. I'm not, everybody wants to sell fear, best way to get voted in, sell fear, be the answer to the fear. I'd like to be that answer, but I don't want to sell the fear. I want you to stand, I want you to be strong and confident, because that's what we need to put out in front of you. There's only one reason why one person attacks another person. There's only one reason why a man will rape a woman. There's only one reason why a big guy attacks a little guy, or a little guy goes after a big guy. It's because they think they can. That's it. They've had some success with this. They've done it before. My job is to put it out there and find a point where we can stop and be smart. Listen, if when possible, hey man, hit the turbos, get out as fast as you can. Like you said, Tosh, your friend got really lucky. That's not, she got a little lucky. She got a lot of lucky.
Yeah, when she told me the story, I was like, are you that's insane. That is insane. That's insane. Literally at that point,
Right. When is a police officer ever around when you need them? Yeah. Ever. Yeah. That is
not for someone of my color, that's for sure.
No, that is strictly a karmic issue. It happened to be the right time, the right place. It worked out for her, and hopefully she learns from it. And again, listen, if you walk out, Like Karen was saying, the world's a little upside down right now. There's a lot of stuff going on politically where whether you agree, don't agree, doesn't really matter. The fact is they've opened up the jails, they're dumping people out, they're defunding police. It's now more than ever on you to be your own personal bodyguard, to take care of you now more than ever. It's such a very important thing.
The police. Oh, I was just gonna say, because my car got broken into last week. I thought, I thought my clicker had locked the door, but it didn't lock the door. So I had my gym bag in there. Somebody went in there, stole my gym bag. There was a credit card in there. They went ate crazy, charging stuff. And that's how I knew that somebody broke into my car. But even the police told me at Van Nuys police station, they're like they can't really do a lot. I mean, it's just like their hands are tied. The police officer was complaining to me about that.
Yeah.
And it's really disgusting. Yeah. I mean, he did give me his card, though, and said he patrols my neighborhood. And if I ever have a problem...
That's because he saw you and he wanted to date you. That's what it was. Stop it. All right, Terry, give your social media links. We got about 4 minutes left. Go ahead.
Terri Marie. Terri Marie nonstop on all social
media
platforms.
She's so excited from that police officer.
Oh, God, no. I just thought I had somebody to call if I have a problem. But anyway, yeah, so all my fitness hosting and all my, crazy banner lifestyle stuff is on my social media. And then I have a website, terrimariefisher.com.
Howard
Wiggins, Facebook, plain and simple.
Karen, you gotta pay attention to Howard and Terry. Vocally Tosh, go ahead.
Vocally Tosh on all social media platforms. My website is natasharumbosmusic.com, and make sure to stream Hangyad on all streaming platforms, and make sure it's your new summer bop.
And what's on your show Sunday?
Well, this weekend I will be in Houston, which is very exciting.
I see trouble coming.
Yeah, and this weekend on my show, well, there's this really big Argentinian producer called Visa Rap, and he's like really, really huge right now. And anybody who collaborates with him is a hit, and they're releasing a song tomorrow. So my show is based on that and a bunch of other, Spanish, chusmeria, that will be on my Sunday show.
How fun. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, so it's on, I do it, thank you. It's on La Mega 97.5. It's in Rochester, but you can download the app and you can listen to it on the app from 4 to 8 is my show on Sundays. So yeah, it's very cool. Fantastic. Been doing it for 3 months. Bob, loving it.
Karen, give your social media links.
Karen Liz Albert or Behind Your Curtain.
And talk about those 2 books. How can people find those books?
BehindYourCurtain.com. You go on there, and the e-guide is free download, and it's packed with all the stuff that I talk about, and a lot of more stuff that I didn't get a chance to talk about. So, and also on BehindYourCurtain.com. If anybody wants to schedule time with me, my link's right there. Happy to hop on a Zoom, take a look at what you got going on, give you some tips and pointers, any way I can help out.
Christopher, social media links.
ArmorUpSelfProtection.com. That's also on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook at Armor Up Self Protection or Christopher Hicks.
And give one last piece of advice for people out there. Why they should go and train with you?
Why should they train with me? I'd love to say that I'm the best. Actually, I am. But besides from that, again, I don't teach self-defense. I teach self-protection. I want you to be proactive. I want you to be out there being confident and own the ground you walk on. That is literally everything to me. After everything I got into the martial arts for, I want to kick butt. I want to know this stuff. It's not that. It really is about having that quiet confidence, being here, and here, being smart. Being smart about training is everything. It's not the movies, guys. You need to know how to be smart. That's the number one thing. Get training. There's a lot of great people out there that have training that you can get training from. But at least get something, Start on your journey. Have some fun. And smile when you do it.
That's why he scared me in 1991. He really scares me now. I'm glad he's my friend. Movies. If I don't talk about movies really quickly in the last 60 seconds. All right, Extraction 2. Chris, I know you're going to see that.
Yes.
So Tasha, so he's a stunt person. into martial arts, and now he's that director. Chris Helms did a great job with that. Mission Impossible is coming out July 12th. I look forward to seeing that. That's part 1, Dead Man Reckoning. What else? Arnold. Chris and I were talking about this again. See Arnold, because that will enlighten you to a lot of things on having visualized goals and things like that. The Flash, I don't care what people say, The Flash is one of the best films out there. The only reason people aren't going to the movies, because it's not necessarily safe to go to the movies, for one. That's why people aren't going. Yeah. And then they could see it home to watch them at home. That's the problem. I've been saying this since 2014. Now people are starting to get it. So when I'm saying things, they are happening. And as everybody knows me, when I'm saying it on the show, I'm documenting what I'm saying, so I'm putting it out there. And let's see, the last thing I'll say is, what else? Flaming Hot on Hulu. And what's the other one? Oh, Cavalier. Both great movies on Hulu. You've got to see that. So I got to thank everybody for coming on. It's not always to make things work. I'm really, really happy. Thank you, Vocally Tosh. Thank you, Karen Liz Albert. Thank you, Christopher Hicks, Howard Wiggins, Terri Marie. And I say this all the time. Have a good night tonight, a better night tomorrow. If you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.